Good morning. Thank you for joining me today. This morning we'll be in 1 Chronicles chapter 2, verse 18, through chapter 4, verse 4. Caleb, son of Hezron, fathered sons by his wife Azubah, also known as Jerioth. Her sons were Jesher, Shobab, and Ardan. When Azubah died, Caleb married Ephrath, who bore him Hur. Hur was the father of Uri, and Uri was the father of Bezalel. Later, Hezron had sexual relations with the daughter of Machir, the father of Gilead. He had married her when he was 60 years old. She bore him Segub. Segub was the father of Jair, who owned 23 cities in the land of Gilead. Gesher and Aram captured the towns of Jair along with Kenath and its 60 surrounding towns. All these were descendants of Machir, the father of Gilead. After Hezron's death, Caleb had sexual relations with Ephrath, his father Hezron's widow, and she bore to him Asher, the father of Tekoa. The sons of Jerahmeel, Hezron's firstborn, were Ram, the firstborn, Bunah, Oren, Ozem, and Ahijah. Jerahmeel had another wife named Adarah. She was Onam's mother. The sons of Ram, Jerahmeel's firstborn, were Maz, Jamin, and Eker. The sons of Onam were Shammai and Jada. The sons of Shammai, Nadab and Abishur. Abishur's wife was Abihail, who bore him Aban and Molid. The sons of Nadab, Seled and Apiam. Seled died without having sons. The son of Apiam, Ishi. The son of Ishi, Shishan. The son of Shishan, Alai. The sons of Jada, Shammai's brother, Jether and Jonathan. Jether died without having sons. The sons of Jonathan, Peleth and Zaza. These were the descendants of Jerahmeel. Shishan had no sons, only daughters. Shishan had an Egyptian servant named Jarha. Shishan gave his daughter to his servant Jarha as a wife. She bore him Attai. Attai was the father of Nathan, and Nathan was the father of Zabad. Zabad was the father of Ephlol, and Ephlol was the father of Obed. Obed was the father of Jehu, and Jehu was the father of Azariah. Azariah was the father of Helez, and Helez was the father of Eliasah. Eliasah was the father of Sismai, and Sismai was the father of Shalom. Shalom was the father of Jechamiah, and Jechamiah was the father of Elishama. The sons of Caleb, Jerahmeel's brother, his firstborn, Misha, the father of Ziph, and his second son, Marashah, the father of Hebron. The sons of Hebron, Korah, Tapua, Recham, and Shema. Shema was the father of Raham, the father of Jorkim. Recham was the father of Shammai. Shammai's son was Maon, who was the father of Beth Zur. Caleb's concubine Eva bore Haran, Moza, and Gazez. Haran was the father of Gazez. The son of Jadai, Regem, Jotham, Geshan, Pelet, Eva, and Shaph. Caleb's concubine Makkah bore Sheber and Tirhana. She also bore Shaph, the father of Madmana, and Shiva, the father of Machbenah and Gibeah. Caleb's daughter was Aksa. These were the descendants of Caleb, the sons of Hur, the firstborn of Ephrath, Shobal, the father of Kiriath, Jearim, Salma, the father of Bethlehem, Hariph, the father of Beth-Gader. The sons of Shobal, the father of Kiriath Jearim, were Harwe, half of the Manahathites, the clans of Kiriath Jearim, the Ithrites, Puthites, Shimathites, and Mishrahites. The Zorathites and Eshtuelites descended from these groups. The sons of Salma, Bethlehem, the Netophathites, Atroth, Beth Joab, half the Manahathites, the Zorites, and the clans of the scribes who lived in Jabez, the Tirhites, Shimeathites, and Succothites. These are the Kenites, who descended from Hamath, the father of Beth-Rechab. These were the sons of David, who were born to him in Hebron. The firstborn was Amnon, whose mother was Ahinoam from Jezreel. The second was Daniel, whose mother was Abigail from Carmel. The third was Absalom, whose mother was Maacah, daughter of King Talmai of Geshur. The fourth was Adonijah, whose mother was Haggith. The fifth was Shephatiah, whose mother was Abital. The sixth was Ithream, whose mother was Eglah. These six were born to David in Hebron, where he ruled for 7 years and 6 months. He ruled 33 years in Jerusalem. These were the sons born to him in Jerusalem: Shemaiah, Shobab, Nathan, and Solomon. The mother of these four was Bathsheba, the daughter of Amiel. The other 9 were Ibhar, Elishua, Elpelet, Noga, Nepheg, Japhiah, Elishama, Elida, and Eliphalet. These were all the sons of David, not counting the sons of his concubines. Tamar was their sister. Solomon's son was Rehoboam, followed by Abijah his son, Asa his son, Jehoshaphat his son, Joram his son, Ahaziah his son, Joash his son, Amaziah his son, Azariah his son, Jotham his son, Ahaz his son, Hezekiah his son, Manasseh his son, Ammon his son, Josiah his son. The sons of Josiah: Johanan was the firstborn, Jehoiakim was born second, Zedekiah third, and Shallum fourth. The sons of Jehoiakim: his son Jehoiachin, and his son Zedekiah. The sons of Jehoiachin in the exile: Shealtiel his son, Malchiram, Pedaiah, Shenazar, Jechemiah, Hushama, and Nedabiah. The sons of Pedaiah: Zerubbabel and Shimei. The sons of Zerubbabel: Meshullam and Hananiah. Shelemith was their sister. The 5 others were Hashaba, Ohel, Berechiah, Hasadiah, and Jeshub Hesed. The descendants of Hananiah: Pelatiah, Jeshiah. The sons of Raphiah, of Arnan, of Obadiah, and of Shechaniah. The descendants of Shemaiah and his sons: Hattush, Egal, Beriah, Neriah, and Shaphat, 6 in all. The sons of Neriah: Elioenai, Hizkiah, and Azrikam, 3 in all. The sons of Elioenai: Hodaviah, Eliashib, Peliah, Akub, Johanan, Deliah, and Anani, 7 in all. The descendants of Judah: Perez, Hezron, Carmi, Hur, and Shobal. Reaiah, the son of Shobal, was the father of Jahath, and Jahath was the father of Ahamai and Lahad. These were the clans of the Zorathites. These were the sons of Etam: Jezreel, Ishma, and Idbash. Their sister was Hazelelponi. Penuel was the father of Gedor, and Ezer was the father of Hushash. These were the descendants of Hur, the firstborn of Ephrath, and the father of Bethlehem. Ooh, got a few names this morning. So, they had Caleb, the son of Hezron, who was the same Caleb that's 1 Chronicles 2:18. But this is the same Caleb that was dispatched on the spy mission with, I think, 11 other of the tribe of Israel to spy out the land before Moses and the rest of Israel entered the land. And only Caleb and one other brought back a good report. Caleb and Joshua, I believe. Caleb and Joshua brought back a good report. And thanks to that, Caleb survived the 40 years in the wilderness and got Hebron for himself. And from there, he also gave his daughter Aksa an inheritance along with his sons, which this traces a lot of Caleb's protege. Oh, interesting. Caleb's daughter, Aksa, was only a distant descendant of Caleb, the son of Hezron, though she was an immediate daughter of Caleb, the son of Jephneh, the faithful spy. She is remembered as the bride of Othniel, the first of the judges, having been promised him for his conquest of Debir. This is also a sideline in the tribe of Judah, separate from the line that culminated and David. You also have the line of David here being laid out. And then from there, the descendants of David through Solomon. So, David also is described as having 4 sons with Bathsheba. Most suppose that this is another name for Bathsheba. Bathsheba is probably an alternative pronunciation for Bathsheba is probably an alternative pronunciation for Bathsheba, perhaps influenced by 2-3, though Solomon is described unexpectedly as her 4th son. Perhaps she had additional sons through, like Uriah the Hittite. Also, you have the sons of Jeconiah. These were the descendants of the line of David, born after the fall of Judah. They carried on the royal line of David. Jeremiah had said in Jeremiah 22:30 that Jeconiah, or as he calls him, Coniah, should be childless, but this must refer to his posterity being deprived of the throne, and indeed, thus the prophet interprets it himself, for no man of his seed shall prosper, sitting upon the throne of David and ruling any more in Judah. Carrying on. Acts chapter 24, verses 1 through 27. After 5 days, the high priest Ananias came down with some elders and an attorney named Tertullus, and they brought formal charges against Paul to the governor. When Paul had been summoned, Tertullus began to accuse him, saying, "We have experienced a lengthy time of peace through your rule, and reforms are being made in this nation through your foresight. Most excellent Felix, we acknowledge this everywhere and in every way with all gratitude. But so that I may not delay you any further, I beg you to hear us briefly with your customary graciousness. For we have found this man to be a troublemaker, one who stirs up riots among all the Jews throughout the world, and a ringleader of the sect of the Nazarenes. He even tried to desecrate the temple, so we arrested him. When you examine him yourself, you will be able to learn from him about all these things we are accusing him of doing." The Jews also joined in the verbal attack, claiming that these things were true. When the governor gestured for him to speak, Paul replied, "Because I know that you have been a judge over this nation for many years, I confidently make my defense. As you can verify for yourself, not more than 12 days ago I went up to Jerusalem to worship. They did not find me arguing with anyone or stirring up a crowd in the temple courts or in the synagogues or throughout the city, nor can they prove to you the things they are accusing me of doing. But I confess this to you, that I worship the God of our ancestors according to the way, which they call a sect, believing everything that is according to the law and that is written in the prophets. I have a hope in God, a hope that these men themselves accept too, that there is going to be a resurrection of both the righteous and the unrighteous. This is the reason I do my best to always have a clear conscience toward God and toward people. After several years, I came to bring my people gifts for the poor and to present offerings, which I was doing when they found me in the temple ritually purified, without a crowd or a disturbance. But there are some Jews from the province of Asia who should be here before you and bring charges if they have anything against me. Or these men here should tell what crime they found me guilty of when I stood before the council. Other than this one thing, I shouted out while I stood before them, I am on trial before you today concerning the resurrection of the dead." Then Felix, who understood the facts concerning the way more accurately, adjourned their hearing, saying, "When Lysias the commanding officer comes down, I will decide your case." He ordered the centurion to guard Paul, but to let him have some freedom, and not to prevent any of his friends from meeting his needs. Some days later, when Felix arrived with his wife Drusilla, who was Jewish, he sent for Paul and heard him speak about faith in Christ Jesus. I'll finish the rest. While Paul was discussing righteousness, self-control, and the coming judgment, Felix became frightened and said, "Go away for now, and when I have an opportunity I will send for you." At the same time, he was also hoping that Paul would give him money, and for this reason he sent for Paul as often as possible and talked with him. After 2 years had passed, Porcius Festus succeeded Felix, and because he wanted to do the Jews a favor, Felix left Paul in prison. This is the governor, and he still wants money from Paul. Well, lines up. Just how much money is enough? Oh, a little bit more. Under Roman law, the type of custody Paul was in could only last 2 years. Felix showed that he was willing to break Roman laws by keeping Paul for more than 2 years. Felix refused to release Paul, though he knew that he was innocent. He did this for the same reason Pilate condemned Jesus while knowing his innocence. They both acted out of pure political advantage, that is, in this case, wanting to do the Jews a favor. In a way, people like Felix and Pilate are the guiltiest of those who reject Jesus Christ. They know what is right, but refuse to do right purely out of the fear of man. They have an internally fatal lack of courage. Yeah, and it wasn't it wasn't Paul himself who stirred up the riot in Jerusalem. It was these Jews from Asia who did so. Yeah, this was Paul said that these Jews from Asia ought to have been here to object. Paul reminded Felix that there was no eyewitness testimony to prove the charges of his accusers. This was a strong point in his defense. The people who had raised the hue and cry in the first instance, claiming to be eyewitnesses of his alleged sacrilege, had not troubled to be present. Because Paul was in the right, he consistently called the case back to the evidence, the very thing his accusers avoided. Christians should never be timid about or ashamed of the truth or of the evidence. If we are truly following God, the truth and evidence are our friends, not our accusers. Yeah. Though you have Tertullus here looking to get a speedy trial. Yeah, just give him back to us. We don't want to waste your time anymore here. We'll kill him real quick for you. It's like somebody's life hangs in the balance, and it's just like, don't worry about it, and hand him over. When Lysias the commander comes down, I will make a decision on your case. So I think that was Claudius Lysias, the commander who had sent the letter, but yeah. I don't think he had anything more to add. I mean, he essentially gave his testimony in the letter, so it's a false pretense here of gathering more evidence. Also, he had his wife Drusilla, who was Jewish, listen to Paul. Felix wanted his wife to hear Paul's testimony, either as a curiosity or so that she could advise him. After all, he claimed to have insufficient evidence for a decision. The woman was the sister of Herod Agrippa II, and Bernice, mentioned in Acts 25. Drusilla was beautiful, ambitious, and about 20 years old at this point. Felix seduced her away from her husband and made her his third wife. The lax morals of Felix and Drusilla helped to explain the topics on which Paul spoke to them. Paul spoke about righteousness, self-control, and the judgment to come. These were the 3 points Paul used when he spoke to Felix and Drusilla. These are 3 points many modern preachers would avoid speaking about, especially in speaking to a high figure like Felix. We don't know exactly how Paul developed these 3 points, but we can speculate on something like this. The righteousness that is ours in Jesus Christ, the need for Christian ethics, self-control, that was evidently lacking in the life of both Felix and Drusilla, eternal accountability before God, the judgment to come. Yeah. Reminds me of John talking with, I want to say Herod, who had his brother's wife. So, and he got imprisoned because of that. And then subsequently killed. Yeah. And it appears that the message had its effect. Felix was afraid. Hearing this message made Felix afraid, knowing something about his life. At least we can say that he probably understood it. The gospel should make those who are intent on rejecting Jesus afraid. Carrying on, Psalm chapter 4, verses 1 through 8. When I call out, answer me, O God, who vindicates me. Though I am hemmed in, you will lead me into a wide open place. Have mercy on me, and respond to my prayer. You men, how long will you try to turn my honor into shame? How long will you love what is worthless and search for what is deceptive? Selah. Realize that the Lord shows the godly special favor. The Lord responds when I cry out to him. Tremble with fear and do not sin. Meditate as you lie in the bed, and repent of your ways. Selah. Offer the prescribed sacrifices and trust in the Lord. Many say, who can show us anything good? Smile upon us, O Lord. You make me happier than those who have abundant grain and wine. I will lie down and sleep peacefully, for you, Lord, make me safe and secure. Yeah. It's interesting coming from the end of Psalms, where you have seemingly a lot of prayers for vengeance and, deliverance from the enemy. Whereas in the beginning it seems like it's more of a prayers of rest and security in God. Finally, Proverbs chapter 18, verses 16 through 18. A person's gift makes room for him and leads him before important people. The first to state his case seems right until his opponent begins to cross-examine him. A toss of a coin ends disputes and settles the issue between strong opponents. Yeah, and I think, especially in this day and age when there's so many people with so many different stories out there about what's right, the proverb says, the first to state his case seems right until his opponent begins to cross-examine him. I think we need to be slow in coming to decisions and hear out the evidence. Not make any hasty decisions. Okay, well, thank you so much for joining me today. Hope you have a great day. Bye.